Hello, my friends. Today I have another very exciting speedrun of mine, this time not blindfolded actually. Not blindfolded Bubzia is very rare, but today we have a visual speedrun of Super Mario 64 Dark Edition 16 stars, which is basically blindfolded. If you don't know what Dark Edition is, I made a Romhack a couple of months ago in which I replaced most of the textures in Super Mario 64 with just a plain black color. As you can see already right now, the sky and yeah, everything is basically dark and black. And that makes it very interesting to speedrun because it is a visual speedrun. There are objects that are visible like trees, coins, stars, enemies, etc. So you kind of have a guideline of where to go and what to do, but you still miss out a lot of visual cues that you would usually use in a visual speedrun. So it is kind of a combination of muscle memory from visual strats and setups from blindfolded strats. You can see me right here in the very beginning go for the blindfolded lucky to skip, just because we cannot see the bridge, so it's very difficult to hit a normal lucky to clip here. But no problem, we nailed it. Blindfolded lucky to skip is incredibly consistent these days. And we go ahead and do the first star, which is behind the Tromp's gate, or however the star is called, basically bomb clip. And for bomb clip, you can actually do the visual strat, but I'm pretty bad at it, so I just kind of use my blindfolded strat. Like, this is the visual strat. Oh, I just literally threw the bomb. That was probably my worst attempt at a bomb clip. Wow, I'm ashamed that this is my PB. I didn't remember this. Just literally threw the bomb. Oh well. But yeah. Nowadays I do my blindfolded bomb clip, and it's very consistent again. But you can basically also do the visual one if you play this yourself. This Romhack is freely available, by the way, on romhacking.com if you want to check it out. It's a very fun playthrough in my opinion. It gets really very difficult, but it really tests your knowledge of the game, so highly can recommend. But next up, we're gonna go to Whomps, and we're gonna get 5 stars. The route is a tiny bit different than both visual and blindfolded. It is kind of a mix, but we first go for Cannonless. Cannonless is still one of the most inconsistent stars in Whomps, but again, I reworked many things and it is already better now. It's very interesting because I kind of wanted to also talk a bit about something else than just Dark Edition, because since I started running Dark Edition now, both 16 and 70 star, and I have found many places which I can optimize in blindfolded because I now have the knowledge of Dark Edition. It sounds a bit strange maybe, but the experiences I made with this Romhack helped me to gain like new insights into blindfolded, which I personally think is extremely cool. And I think like for anyone who does speedruns of Mario 64 or like is interested in joining the blindfolded speedrunning community in Mario, I think Dark Edition is a really cool place to start out. Because yeah, it's kind of a very light entry. It definitely, blindfolded is still a whole other level and it's completely different than this, but many strats and many strategies apply still. Anyways, back to the game. We are trying to go for Whomp's Fortress boss, and I'm trying to get a wall kick here, a wall kick dive to the red coin, but it's very hard to time wall kicks, as you can see. I just keep bonking there, very bad. I do the wall kick here and then long jump to the thwomp. This strat is also outdated. By now I just do the blindfolded strat and use the warp. It's much more consistent and much faster. Like, the average time you save by doing the wall kick is like 2 seconds versus taking the warp with the thwomp triple jump. And yeah, 2 seconds versus these bonks that you saw now where I lost like, what, 10 seconds probably? It's just not worth it. especially in Dark Edition, where it's not so optimized that you need those 2 seconds. Like, it's very easy to still PB these days. Next up is Whomp's Fortress Tower. The Tower Star is entirely blindfolded route. That is because the tower on top is also completely invisible, which makes it very, very difficult to navigate this upper part here. I can really see how casual players would even struggle with this, because this is difficult. There's no indication whatsoever until you are all the way on top of the tower. But the blindfolded strat works like a miracle, as you could see, very clean, very fast. And we get the last star now, which is the Whomp's Fortress Owl. Owl is possible for those who think it's a meme, but it is actually possible, and it's not even that hard, like, completely honest. It's not even that hard. It's just, again, consistency versus speed, the same question that always is prevalent in blindfolded. Because you can do Owless, but you would reset, I don't know, 8 to 10 runs until you get it, and the run is just not optimized enough to kind of allow this kind of inconsistency in the run for such a small time save. I think Owless saves, what, maximum 4 seconds or so, at least with the blindfolded approach. So it's literally just not worth it. We are gonna do CCM 2 stars now, though. I think, no, it's still the very same as the blindfolded route. I copied very much from the blindfolded route, honestly, just because I figured it makes more sense. The penguin here, the good thing about the penguin is that you can see the penguin and you can see the trees, and you can align this with the trees, so you don't need to 100% focus on the beat count that I usually use in blindfolded. But it makes it just a tiny bit easier, and I think this is exactly why Dark Edition is so cool, because you can neither use visual strats, but you can always use blindfolded strats, but what you can also do is use something in between, and I think that makes it really, really unique as a speedrun. Lastly, we get CCM wall kicks, which is probably one of the hardest stars in the run. You can see nothing. CCM wall kicks is straight out blindfolded strat beat count, and I failed it there once. I need to back it up. You can see now the camera with Mario down there, and you can see that you can see nothing. But if you know where the walls are, if you know the specific beat counts, then you can make the blindfolded strat work. So if you are a pure visual player who has never done blindfolded before, I think with the route that I take, you might struggle quite a bit. I would recommend either changing the route to something that you are more comfortable in, or trying actually to learn some blindfolded strats for this. Like, it is not very difficult, especially if you are allowed to have the eyes open and have some additional visual cues. Dark World, the Bowser stages, all 3 Bowser stages are very difficult in Dark Edition. I go for, here you can see this is very different from blindfolded. I usually go here for the speed kick, triple jump, wall kick like they do in visual, just because it is pretty possible, if you can see. This section here with the amps is completely dark though, so you need to kind of know where to go, and you can use the red coin here as a visual cue. But after this, again, very, very big darkness. So you really need to know the layout, and I would highly recommend to practice Bowser stages a bit before you do runs, because especially later on, Fire Sea and Bits are really, really difficult, and they can really mess you up very easily. But you can see me here cruising very smoothly through Dark World. Again, a very hybrid mix of blindfolded and non-blindfolded strats. For example, in the middle with the bridge, I use just like 100% the coins. I don't do any blindfolded strat or something. I just use the coins to align myself and then jump everywhere where I need. Also, one of the big changes from Dark Edition to blindfolded is that you can actually spin and throw Bowser. All 3 fights. You do the 3 throw in the last Bowser fight and the 1 throws in the first 2, which is always nice because it saves a tiny bit of time and makes the speedrun a bit more nice, I guess. Also not so nice because Bowser throws suck and nobody likes them. Anyways, we are moving on to Basement. Basement is very interesting. It has some new strats that we don't usually use. Most notably, it has the single route change to Blindfolded, which is SSL Talon. SSL Talon is currently not in the Blindfolded 16-star world record. I replaced it with LLL Bully, but in Dark Edition we can actually do the Shy Guy bounce. I'm bonking here left and right. Happens. So look at this. This is actually possible. Like we can basically do the visual strat here. Just move around the desert, long jump, bounce on the Shy Guy, and then get the bird. So this star is much faster in Dark Edition than in Blindfolded currently. Fun fact, I've actually routed a Shy Guy bounce Blindfolded too, and it's possible. The problem is reaching the star afterwards, because landing on the pyramid is very difficult, but in theory it should be possible Blindfolded too. Then SSL Pyramid. Here a very cool strat you can see me do. 2 kicks to the left, kick, up, kick, and triple jump. This is a new strat I specifically found while routing Dark Edition, and I believe I will use this in Blindfolded now too. This is one of these instances that I was talking about that Dark Edition inspired me to try like new approaches and ideas for Blindfolded, and it's super cool. I'm so excited for this. It's like I started making this Romhack as like kind of a meme, so people can like play around kind of blindfolded, but like haha, I'm actually not blindfolded. But it turns out to actually be like such a great introduction to Blindfolded. I'm like really happy about that it's not just a joke, but actually useful and fun. So yeah. LLL, we just grab rats, no bully in this route. And then we move on to HMC, which is the last stars that we will collect besides DDD. HMC is pretty close to Blindfolded besides Rolling Rocks. Amazing Exit, we actually still use lock cam. It's very hard, as I said. One big difficulty in Dark Edition is doing wall kicks and timing wall kicks, because you cannot see where the walls are and timing is difficult. But here with my lock cam, I can just use my beat count that I use in Blindfolded 2 and do left side, which is extremely consistent these days, which is nice. We get 2 more stars, Rolling Rocks and Nessie. Rolling Rocks I do a tiny bit different than in Blindfolded, and a tiny bit different than Visual 2, because in Blindfolded we would use an unreferenced wall in the corner to get up to the star, and in Visual you would do a double jump, wall kick, dive right here. Like here you would wall kick and then dive to the star. But in Dark Edition, as I said, you cannot see walls, so it's hard to wall kick. In Dark Edition I just kind of locate the door and then wall kick from the door, because you can kind of estimate where the walls are. But yeah, I fell down there once, not so nice, 5-second time loss. As you can see, this run still has many mistakes. It's definitely far from super optimized, but I'm pretty happy with this for now, and I stopped running 16-star just because I wanted to focus on other projects. So it can definitely still be improved. I think theoretically a sub 20 time should be possible. If you look at my sum of best in my splits, it's wrong. I have some fake splits in there, unfortunately, that I did not clean out before the run. But yeah, let's rather talk about the run and not the statistics. HMC Nessie, full on Blindfolded strat. This is actually very easy to also do the visual strat in. It's just, the Blindfolded strat just does not lose time over the visual one, the beginner one at least. So I just do that because I'm more practiced in that. You can do the normal jump down and then go to the corner of the elevator strat though, it's no problem. Now on to the big changes of Dark Edition. Mips is broken. You could see Mips is not running away from me. This is entirely my fault, and this is the only change that is different gameplay wise, because somehow when I make this hack I broke Mips for some reason or the other. I don't know why, but Mips just doesn't move. I don't know how to fix it, and I don't have enough knowledge of ROM hacking to fix it myself. But yeah, Mips clip is difficult. Many people and many 16-star runners align Mips with the shadow that casts underneath Mario, and well, you cannot see shadows in the dark. So you can see me struggling here a few times until I get the correct clip position. I was considering if doing the blindfolded setup is worth it, but it's kind of not really worth it, since in HMC you are in lock cam and you need to menu to go to Mario cam again, and then the blindfolded setup also takes time with setting Mips down and stuff. So it's usually more worth to just go for it and hope that you clip correctly. Especially if you want to optimize this, you just need to go for it. But yeah, that was Mips. Now we are on to DDD, getting close to the end of the run, end game starting kind of now. DDD is interesting. It's super cool that these arrows are still here in the game, I think, because they can help you tremendously traversing this tunnel. This tunnel can be very difficult otherwise. So big shoutouts to the yellow arrows. And we're gonna do backsub. Backsub is very difficult, I would say, for casual players, because you cannot see the sub, and you would need to use my blindfolded strat to count here. But yeah, for me it's no problem, luckily, because I'm very experienced in blindfolded. So I just do my strat. But what I would recommend if you are playing this yourself, I would recommend going for the boxes, like the old blindfolded strat, or like the very casual beginner strat, where you hit the switch and then the boxes appear on the other side, because that is visible. Hazy, also completely blindfolded strat, 100%. There is no change to the blindfolded strat here. We're just gonna do my new Bubzia fast cycle, or however you want to call it. And the problem is Darksea is very dark. Darksea? Hazy is very, very dark. And the biggest problem is the cycle of this elevator platform that goes up and down here. It's extremely difficult. You can still make it out, but there is very little reference points of where you should look at. So Hazy, especially if you do your first playthrough of Dark Edition, I've seen many streamers play this game like casually, and I followed along how their progress was because I was very interested, and most of the people started struggling in Hazy and Bowser in the Sky a lot. It's just like such a difficult spike, which I don't like too much as a, like, if I would like to improve this Romhack in some way, I would probably make Hazy a tiny bit easier. Sky I think is okay if it's very hard because it's the last stage, but Hazy is like kind of in the middle. So I would kind of nerf this stage a tiny bit if I would have the chance, but I will leave it at this right now. It's already released and all. But yeah, for the speedrun, no problem for me. I know the blindfolded cycles. And we get the second key, which brings us to the worst part of the run, BLJs. One big thing I want to just point out here, I am very experienced in 16 star. I have done hundreds and thousands and 10,000s of runs of 16 star blindfolded. Not so many visual, but blindfolded I've done a lot. I can admit this to myself. And I am pretty decent at BLJs too. I'm very confident in my ability to BLJ well. But I have not played Mario 64 in a long time before this. So excuse me. I had to sneeze. So I very, very much am rusty at not only the mashing, but you can also see me struggling here with the camera a lot, which is very unfortunate because this run was kind of clean. It wasn't the best run, there were many tiny mistakes, but I'm losing like lots of time here for BLJs. Yeah, kind of unfortunate. I hope this will go through. I don't think so. Was this enough speed? Don't know if that's enough. I really hope this is enough speed. Oh, it was. Okay. So it was not horribly bad, but it was pretty bad. Like, this should not be a world record BLJ for sure. Definitely can be improved. Second BLJ here, a bit easier to align because you have the paintings left and right. You can align yourself on that. So this one should be a tiny bit easier. We'll see how it goes here in a sec. There we go. Nice BLJ. And now we come to Sky. Sky is the last the last big difficult part, and I do Bubzia in the Sky, which is the blindfolded fast cycle of Dark World, Bowser in the Sky, including elevator skip and left side and the triple jump dive here. Everything is included. And this elevator, especially the first one, many people have written me as a feedback that like, why the hell are elevators not textured? And it is for a reason. Like, it is for a reason. I didn't want to make this game extremely inaccessible and difficult. Here we come up to left side, just by the way. I didn't want to make this game super difficult, but I wanted to make it an experience resembling Blindfolded. And in Blindfolded, you have to learn a new ability in your skill set of gaming, which is relying on cycles and practicing cycles and memorizing them. So I wanted to definitely include invisible elevators for the fans, by the way. I wanted to include invisible elevators just to make that point kind of a bit more clear. Not all the elevators in this game are invisible, like in Vanish Cap, for example. But yeah, that was Bowser in the Sky though. Very, very clean, very clean. I've practiced it a lot in my life, so happy that it worked out in this edition too. And then we don't do the blindfolded thread, but we actually throw Bowser 3 times. And that was throw number 1. Throw number 2. What people don't know, that I'm actually a pretty good Bowser thrower. That's a joke, by the way. I am really bad at throwing, so I'm very excited that I got 3 throws here. And time will come up very soon when I reach the power star. And as you can see, excitement in my eyes. The PB is near, and boom! 2130 Dark Edition 16 star. We officially beat the blindfolded world record with this run, which is super cool. And yeah, in general, really decent run. We lost lots of time in BLJs. I have to admit that. I'm not proud of that. I will probably improve this in the future. But the next few goals are different, so I'll put this project aside for a tiny bit. For those who don't know, I'm currently requesting a leaderboard for this category, so if you're interested in running this yourself, we will very soon have a speedrun.com leaderboard of this game, which I will link in the description. And yeah, with that, I don't have much else to say. I hope you enjoyed the run, as always. I really hope that Dark Edition, which is something you don't usually see, could pique your interest a tiny bit. And more blindfolded speedruns and edited content also coming soon. I'm working a lot on my YouTube plans for next year. But for now, I want to just say thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss any other streams or highlights or videos of mine. And leave a like and comment which stage you actually like the most. I'm very interested of feedback of this game. Yeah, big shoutouts to my Patreons also. Benlitz, Bob Farrell, Boris, Funkylicious, Kevin, VR4300 and ZXMany. Thank you very much and see you next time. Bye bye.